What's up, rogues? This is Rare Loot Brad here to give you the ultimate guide for being rogue in the Division. In this guide, I will be teaching you everything one needs to know to be prepared before going rogue. In this video, there will be 5 sections. I'll be going over what being rogue is, how to become rogue, best ways to escape being rogue, best ways to stay alive for a manhunt, and why being rogue is a very bad idea. So, let's begin. So starting off, we're going to go over the very basics and get that right out of the way so everybody can understand where being rogue comes from. In the Division, there is an area called the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone is the walled-off quarantine zone in the middle of Manhattan, where due to the increased amount of rioting, looting, and chaos, the military pulled out, leaving behind supplies, medicine, and weapons, as well as abandoning thousands of infected dying and dead people. It is up to the agents, the player, to venture in this hostile area alone or up to a group of 4. In this area, this is where agents have the possibility to go rogue. Being rogue allows other agents to go against each other to scavenge for the best loot, but dying as a rogue has very negative consequences. Alright, with what I just said, let's break it down even further to make sure everyone can understand. The area in which players can go rogue is called the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone is a PvE/VP area, meaning it's player versus environment, PvE, so players versus AI enemies, and player versus player, PvP. We put both of them together and we have PvEVP. So you can face both AI enemies and players at the same time. If one shoots other players that aren't shooting him, then he will go rogue. Being rogue has the opportunity to get the best loot from other players, to steal it from them, but it also has severe consequences if one dies rogue. Alright, number 2, how to become rogue. Now that we've explored the very basic details of the Dark Zone and the rogue status, let's go into more details about how to become rogue. This is going to have a lot of information, so if you're really new to the Division, this is probably the perfect area for you to learn all about the rogue and all that stuff. I'm not going to try to talk fast, but if I do, just replay it and try to listen through it. So let's go into more details. The most easiest way to become rogue is by shooting a player who is not on your team. When you first become rogue, you will have a red skull above your head and a timer that will be at 20 seconds. This timer is the amount of time you are considered rogue. If no other players are shooting at you, the number will slowly go down until you are at 0, in which case you are no longer rogue. All other players that are in the Dark Zone can kill you without going rogue if you are rogue. If you kill someone as a rogue, you will get a rank up, from rank 0 to rank 1, and your timer will go from 20 seconds to 90 seconds. If you kill a second person, you will enter rank 2, which is 120 seconds. And of course there's rank 3, which is 160 seconds, rank 4, 240 seconds, and then finally the max rank, rank 5, which is also known as a manhunt, which is 300 seconds or 5 minutes. It's pretty long. You will lose experience and Dark Zone currency if you die rogue, and that amount will increase every rank you gain. So if you're rank 5 and you die, you will be penalized very heavily. Other things to mention is that your rogue timer will reset if you shoot another player. That being said, if you are rank 5, your timer will just pause if you shoot another player. So if you're like rank 1 and you have 85 seconds and you shoot someone, it will go back up to 90 seconds. But if you're rank 5 and you have 120 seconds and it goes down 1 second, if you shoot someone, it's not going to go and reset all the way back up to 300 seconds. It's just going to pause, which is kind of nice. When you shoot another player, you will not turn rogue, but it will warn you that that is not an enemy. You can continue to shoot that player until you become rogue. And also to note that flashbangs are not considered lethal, so they will not turn you rogue if you shoot at another player. So interesting topic to learn about that. And then finally, if you enter a manhunt status, everybody in the entire server of the Dark Zone will be alerted that you've entered that, and they will come and hunt you down. Alright, on to number 3, best ways to escape being rogue. There are going to be times when you're shooting your gun and another player walks right in front of your gun, causing you to go rogue, which will suck and will happen more often than you think. So, we need to learn some ways to escape this status of being rogue. I have 2 surefire ways for escape being rogue. The first and most effective way is to run away. I know that sounds barbaric and simple, but it truly is the best way, and I have yet to find any other way that works better than this. Basically, the whole point is to avoid the other players. How this is being achieved is 1. The player cannot shoot you and sprint at the same time. They can walk and hip fire or stand still and aim their gun, but they can't run and gun. This basically forces the player to chase after you, and because they're not shooting you, your rogue timer will go down. And 2, you will avoid other players that will try and pinpoint you on your location when rogue, and you'll avoid being overrun and defeated. I can guarantee this is effective, if not the most effective way to escape your rogue status. The second way to escape your rogue status, and I would say only use this if you have other teammates with you, preferably a full team, and also you want to try to build up that manhunt status too, would be to try and find a corner and face the enemy players. What I mean by find a corner is to find cover so that no enemies can hit you on your side or in the back. And you can just face the enemy head on, mano to mano. This way you know there's no enemy players that are going to surprise attack you. Do note that this should only be done if A, you can't run for some reason, B, you want to hit the manhunt status, and C, you are in a team of 4. Remember still that running is almost always going to be better than the second option, and pretty much any option for that matter. Alright, now we're on number 4, best ways to stay alive for a manhunt. So, you finally decided to swim in the deep end. You wanted to try a manhunt. Well, congrats if you make it to rank 5, but now the hard part begins and the stakes have never been higher. Remember, if you die, you will see part of your soul die as well. But enough mumbo jumbo. You know why you did it, so now let's survive it. Tip 1. Everyone, and I mean everyone, knows you're on a manhunt. No, literally, the whole server is notified when a manhunt happens and your location as well. That's right, 20 plus people could be heading straight for you, so make sure you have a lot of ammo. And I can't stress it enough, med packs. Those things will save your life. Tip number 2. High DPS builds mean you can kill, but high health builds means you can survive. The goal of the manhunt is to survive, not down as many enemies, as fun as that is. So stick with a high health build. Max health one can push on their characters right now is around 130,000, which is really high up there. This turns you into a bullet sponge. You can literally stand in front of 4 other players and laugh off their bullets. And combined with tip number 3, which is set up a med build. You will turn into a mother-loving tank if you combine the both. This med build includes the first aid so you can rebuild your health after a few hits, plus all of the med talents to heal you even better. Which leads us to the most important thing to have on that build, which is tip number 4, is the security super. Yes, the super increases the defense to 80% for 15 seconds. That's really good. Yes, it's not the med super. Why? Because the med pack works just as well as that super. But the defense one can be used to block for emergency situations. So if you go down, you can use it and then use a med pack to go all the way back up and still have great defenses. Note, I only use this on sticky situations where I'm probably going to go down, so I use it. I don't use it when I first meet somebody else, or I don't use it when it finally charges back up. And which leads me to my final tip, tip number 5, be in a group. Alone is hard, but being in a group is less hard. While you won't have to worry about all the fire heading towards you, you still have to play your part, so no slouching. Also, really important to note is don't be in a party chat, well actually do be in a party chat, because the enemies can hear you if you are in game chat and you are close enough to them, pretty much giving away all your plans if you are in game chat, okay? And now we're going to go for my ultimate tip for being in a manhunt. Ultimate tip. Please note that this tip is also seen as griefing by the Division community, so if you do this, I am not liable for any of the hate mail you get for doing it. But here it is. You will need 4 teammates to achieve this. Decide which one will go rogue. I recommend the player who has the highest health. Once you and your group enter the dark zone, have the player that will go rogue leave the group. You should still all be in the same dark zone. And here's how it will play out. You and your team will explore the dark zone. When you encounter another player, have the teammate who left shoot the player till he goes rogue. Once your teammate goes rogue, cover him with your body, pretty much a human shield. This puts the other player in a decision to either 1, try and kill you and avoid going rogue, or 2, run away. If he tries to shoot, then block his bullet till he's rogue and then have everybody else kill him. If he stays but doesn't shoot, have the player on your team who is rogue kill him, thus getting him to that manhunt status. And 3, if he runs away, you can chase him, but it's usually not worth it. So now let me explain why to do this and why it's griefing. Players do it to earn large amounts of XP by killing the ones who go rogue or to steal their stuff, without having to worry about going rogue or losing any or a lot of XP currency or Dark Zone keys. Plus, if a bodyguard dies, he can respawn almost instantly, but if someone that's rogue dies, they have to wait 30 seconds, so it cripples the other team. It's considered griefing because you force the other players at a disadvantage by making them go rogue and not letting them fight your team's rogue. But, confession time, I have tried this many of times, me being the team's rogue due to my high health, and I have survived many manhunts by doing this. And that's the only reason why I share this, is because it's even more effective than running away. But I will admit, it is a very dirty tactic, and if this method gets blocked in a patch, I totally understand. Which will lead us to our final segment. Number 5, why being rogue is a very bad idea. The whole reason to go rogue is to steal other players' good that they got from the Dark Zone. That's it. The small bonus you get from surviving rogue is just that, a bonus, nothing more. It's meant that you're willing to take the ultimate chance so you can steal other players' loot. Sadly, it really is the ultimate chance because dying will result in so much loss of XP and currency. Dying as just a rank 1 rogue at level 50 can see over 50,000 Dark Zone currency vanish instantly. Don't even get me started in dying in a manhunt. That crap will make you throw your PlayStation 4 or Xbox through a window, then burn down your house, then vote Trump. It's that bad. And that's what I'm going at. It's not worth going rogue for the simple fact as dying as a rogue costs way too much to even try it. And that's where griefing gets involved to force players into punishment of the rogue status. Don't get me wrong, some players will accidentally walk into your bullets, but you know when they're being dicks. But this rogue status might just be a simple fix of having the XP, and just the XP, turned down of loss. You could probably even see more rogues come out because of that, which would turn the Dark Zone from either a boring PvE or griefing area into a better, more action-packed Dark Zone. But don't get me wrong, the Division hasn't even been out for a month, and I bet things will change in the coming DLCs. That's it for my ultimate guide for being rogue. If you liked the video or found any of this info helpful, please leave a like or subscribe. This has been Rare Loot Brad, out.